Ali. I am your host, Saeed. I do want to thank you for joining us tonight, Tuesday, 22nd of June, 2021. Remember, take a few minutes, call your friends, call your family, tell them Real Talk with Saieed Ali is going live on Synergy Network. Call them. You know, we are the #1 current affairs program. We bring news to you in a different way. We allow you to call in 238-6716 to voice your concerns, to voice your opinions. Tuesday night tonight, remember tomorrow is Wednesday, it's public concerns night tomorrow night. So we want to hear what the public have to say with issues. So we will be dealing with that on Wednesday night. So viewers, as we start off our program for tonight, Tuesday 22nd, there are now claims that staff at the Education Facilities Company Limited, EFCL, have reached their breaking point, as they have not been paid for 2 months. 2 months. The situation have become so upsetting that employees say they are struggling just to make ends meet. EFCL staff. They say for February and March 2021, they have not received their salaries, and correspondence with the Ministry of Education, Dr. Nayan Gasby Dolly, has been useless. Useless. Have been proven useless. No communication, no contact. Where the minister? Salary not paying, they disappear? The Minister of Education did not have much to say, except for questions to be directed to EFCL Chairman Ricardo Vasquez. So Ricardo, you have some answering to do, boy. You have some answering to do. Staff have not been paid for 2 months. 2 months? 4 fortnight. 4 fortnight. You see, I will tell you something. You see, this is not the wilderness where it have Moses, you know, where God got rain manna from heaven, you know. No, this is not that. People need money to pay their bills, and to not collect salary for 2 months from the Education Facility Company Limited, it's hard. It's really hard. Caller, good night.
Good night, Saeed. How are you?
I'm okay. Go right ahead.
Well, you raise a very good topic, and tomorrow, although it's public concern, I would like to see on this show. I've been trying to find out. Do you know Gavin Madeira? I'm trying to find out what is the CEO salary and the executive management in Caribbean Airlines. I'm trying to figure out if a man has 5 degrees, and I have nothing against academic qualification. But if plain air flying, common sense, which is not so common, and plain air flying is shut down, somebody should be driving around with a big $15,000 lease vehicle every month. I am mashing up nobody there.
But you're talking the facts.
But the fact is, why did we reach $100-something million? If we cut in costs, we're sending home all the small people, the 450 whatever.
Yes.
What these people going to do who have loans, and the bank want to give deferral, and they have to consolidate and all these things. Well, right? With the CEOs and them and these fellas and them who collecting all these monies for it, and the executive management, how much the board is paying? You know, I really like to see, Saeed, I really want you to bring this to the attention of the public. Let me see what is the executive salaries, expenditure, the entertainment allowances, the credit cards, what is paid, the housing allowances and things. The problem is the top is too heavy. We need to start bottom-up organizations and have people more involved, because it's the people who being affected. So I would be welcome that. I'm glad tomorrow is Wednesday, and I would welcome you getting that information. Thank you.
Thank you, my friend. No, that's a serious thing, you know. That is a serious thing. But I have a story. When we go to that story, I want to hear what you all have to say. Hey, you're going to be shocked. EFCL workers, 4 fortnight, and them and get them no salary. Is it that money have not been allocated to pay them, or payment is late? We talk about education, you know. That's the education department. 2 months and you tell me payment late? 2 months? 4 fortnight and payment late? And everything is COVID, is COVID, is COVID. When last did I hear somebody die from a heart attack? When last you all heard about somebody just catch the flu? Because now we're in the rainy season. It have no flu catching. It have no cancer patient being dead. No heart attack. Everything is COVID, is COVID, is COVID. So COVID now cause EFCL workers, staff, not to get payment for 4 fortnight. We blaming COVID or we blaming the opposition? Who we blaming? The opposition? I'm here to find out tonight. I'm here to find out. Caller, good night.
Hello?
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 Yes, go right ahead. I'm hearing you.
Good evening, Mr. Ali.
Evening.
I just want to bring something to your attention there. I'm calling
Sure.
you from the Pinal area.
Uh-huh.
I visited the social welfare, that's family services, the Ferro Street in San Fernando this afternoon.
Today?
I was there, yes.
Okay.
It was like around lunchtime. So I was there for moral support with a relative who's not, 100% who could read and all of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he went in, and when he came back out, the answer he gave me, I was not satisfied. So I went and asked the security, the guy that just left. I'm a little bit puzzled as to what he said, and if you could allow me to meet the officer.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, no. I said, what? He said, no, because you have on a bedroom slippers.
Wait. You visited the
social welfare
building in San Fernando today?
Yeah, I was wearing one of those slippers that all those girls wear with the floppy front.
Yes.
And the reason for that, well, actually, I have 2 reasons for that. I wear slippers all my life because I'm diabetic and I don't wear full front shoes.
I understand that.
So, and let me just say that we are on a disability grant due to a surgery gone wrong in my husband's foot a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I want to make it totally clear that we were doing well. My husband is a joinerer. We were in the process of building house. We started to build the house in July, and this happened in September.
Mm-hmm.
So we went into the hospital one day, and we were told he has the vein thrombosis, and there's a minor surgery. They'll strip the vein and all of that, and we agreed because I knew what it was. However, when he went into theater, and like about 6 hours passed, and he did not come out. And when I saw the doctor, I said, "Where is my husband?" He said he gone up long time. When I went to the ward, my husband's foot from the neck to the ankle was in Band-Aid with 102 stitches.
Wow.
So I asked what happened, and they said they encountered a different problem when they went to theater.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the reason for my suffering. I want to make it totally and abundantly clear that because of the brokenness in our system, I feel as though we were robbed of a good life. Mm-hmm. But in the midst of that, I also want to say that I know Jesus is Lord. So let's get back to the social welfare office, right?
Uh-huh.
And I said that to say, so let me be blunt and say we are poor, and yes, I was wearing a slippers. So he asked him, I said, could I go in and get some assistance for this relative? He said, no, and I said, why? He said, because you're wearing a bedroom slippers. So I said, a bedroom slippers? He said, yes. I said, but I need to speak to somebody. I said, I want to ask you something, and I want you to think before you answer. This is social welfare office where people come and beg for help,
yes,
literally. And you need to understand that. And the other point is, if in that this tent have 10 ladies, I am 110% sure 8 will be wearing slippers. And when I say slippers, I don't mean it was a rubber slippers. You know, it was a decent slippers. How many people in that state of collecting disability or public assistance, you would see a social welfare office with a properly strapped sandal or a sneakers?
True.
So, of course, I by that time I was speaking louder. And he went in and told the management I wanted to see them. So I waited about 5 minutes, and he opened another door and took me in. And I want to make it clear, the officer was from the Claxton Bay area, and she lives in the Claxton Bay area. She asked, what is the problem? And I told her, I'm here to find out about the issue with the slippers. She said, I'm giving you 2 seconds to tell me what is your issue. I said, I'm here to find out what is the issue with my slippers. I took my foot out of the slippers and showed her where I have an injury, where my nails are ingrown, and I paid and took it off. So even though I had the shoes, I couldn't wear it. She found I was bothered, and she said it's COVID, and she cannot handle this stress. Called another lady. And mind you, I am East Indian, and the first person was East Indian, and that was her attitude. And I told her, I said, so when you walk out, I mean, you are not being disrespectful. An African lady came across, introduced herself as the officer, said that the person spoke to my relative. What is the issue? I said, firstly, I want to find out the issue with the slippers. And she said to me, you need to leave the office because it's COVID, everybody is under stress, and we will not be taking any of you.
Everybody's under threat.
Stress.
Stress.
Stress, yes. She said it's COVID time, everybody's under stress, and she's not going to allow me to abuse her.
But did she take any information whatsoever concerning you or your relative?
No.
So you all went to apply for social...
No. We went to get, sometimes when you're doing business, and that's like what it's called a courtesy letter. Okay. So they would give a letter stating, yes, you are so-so person, and this is your income for the month.
But which one are the offices then? What street in San Fernando?
It's Cipero Street, 2 buildings before T&T.
Yes.
So, and I told her, I said, Shisham, you have 2 seconds to say what is your problem. Wow. I said, well, I want to know. What I told her, I said, when I spoke to the security, what I told him is I am 100% sure out of 10 ladies, 8 will be wearing slippers. And she told me I could take it to the board to San Fernando.
Ooh, and the bowl on top of it?
Oh, and she also told me, you all make wrong decision because she is sure that if I go to San Fernando, I will get a shoes for the same price of that slippers.
My dear, thank you for highlighting the matter.
I want to say something to you. 1 or 2 times I call and make comments, and Mr. Barakpour was not in agreement with me, and I know he's an intelligent person. And for that particular reason, I want to say that I was not wearing a careless slippers. It was a dressing slippers, and I said to you I am diabetic, so I don't cover my toes.
I understand. Thank you, my dear.
And the airline.
Thank you, my dear. Social development, San Fernando, Cipero Street, you all need to do better than that. That is not customer service. You see, I have been talking about customer service for a lengthy period of time on Real Talk. You see, when you as an individual holding a position, you look down on other people. You would look down on other people. But from the time you hear you have to leave your position to go elsewhere and somebody looking down at you, you're quick to go on social media and complain. You're quick to complain, but you ain't looking at yourself. And I'm sure that lady probably listened to Real Talk. I'm sure she probably locked on. It's sad, it's sad. The Gambling and Betting Control Bill has been passed in the Senate with 24 votes for, 0 votes against, and 6 abstain. There have been previous efforts to regulate the gambling and betting industry, which lapsed in 2016. Meanwhile, Finance Minister Colin Imbut accused the opposition of delaying for the past 6 years.
All that is happening here is that the opposition has been filibustering for 6 years. Filibustering. This is the essence of filibustering in the full meaning of that word. Just delaying, frustrating the completion of the matter. It has been 6 years since the UNC passed the Gambling, Gaming and Betting Control Commission Bill. 6 years.
Now, viewers, he stated that a JSC reports indicated that the government should be benefiting $500 million from this industry. Imbut added that the industry is worth $16 billion And if the government gains 40 million out of that on an annual basis, that's plenty. He then went on to say that it was not fair to the ordinary taxpayers. I love how he say that, you know. It is not fair to the ordinary taxpayers or to the salaried persons who tax and deduct, as this can now be seen as a revenue stream, just like property tax.
Mr. Vice President, we have to look at ways and means of dealing with structural problems in our economy. We have to look at new revenue streams. Right now, you have a $16 billion industry. If we get 30, 40 million out of that industry on an annual basis, we get plenty. The country should be getting $500 to $600 million out of that $16 billion industry. It is just not fair to the ordinary taxpayer, to the salaried person whose taxes are deducted at source from their monthly income. It is just not fair to the ordinary worker who has to pay income tax that you have a $16 billion industry literally getting away with murder. So that this is a revenue stream, just like property tax. And just like the Revenue Authority, we need to improve efficiency in revenue collection. We have to close the gap between revenue and expenditure so that eventually we will have a balanced budget.
It is not fair that when you pay your NIS, you can't get it in return. It is not fair to seize the old age pension. It is not fair. Call him Imbert, you want to talk about it is not fair? Let me tell you something. I have a little long like Trinidad. It is not fair to go in the hospital and cannot get beds. It is not fair to go in the hospital and have to die on a floor. It is not fair that grocery price going up. It is not fair that gas price went up. It is not fair that salary grant is not paid in time. It is not fair that the small man in Trinidad and Tobago have to be like paupers in an once oil-rich country. It is not fair, Colin Imbert, that the small man cannot own a vehicle again. It is not fair that we have to sit down home in our house while the banks call us day and night. It is not fair, Colin Imbert. It is not fair. You want to talk about fairness? You want to talk about fairness? It have a whole list I could call out. But it is not fair. I go leave public concern for public concerns night. And we go bust some. It is not fair. It is not fair for the Minister of Health to come out and say we Trinidadians don't know how to wear a mask properly. It is not fair for the minister to say wrap a old jersey around your face. It is not fair to implement a $1,000 fine for not wearing a mask properly. It is not fair for the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago to come out in a platform and say we're not shutting down Petrotrin and boom shut 5,000 people going home. You want to talk about it is not fair? Wait for Wednesday night. Imbert further noted that currently, under the Liquor License Act, a bar is allowed to have 20 amusement machines. He said, if you want more than 20 amusement machines, you are a casino.
Let me deal with this matter of bars. Currently, under the Liquor License Act, a bar is allowed to have 20 amusement machines. If you want more than 20 amusement machines, you're a casino. Why it is bar owners want to be casino owners, but not subject to regulation as a casino? 20 amusement machines is more than adequate for an establishment whose primary function is to sell spirituous liquors and alcohol. That's what a bar is for. That's what you get a liquor license for, the license to sell liquor. Why on earth would a bar owner having the ability to have 20 amusement machines, one-armed bandits they are called, want to have more than that. If you go beyond that and you want to have roulette machines and blackjack tables and so on, you are no longer a bar, you're a casino. So I hope that puts an end to that.
Colin Membert, it is unfair to shut down bars in Trinidad and Tobago for over a year now. It is unfair. Caller, good night.
A very good evening to you, Mr. Saeed.
To you, my friend.
So the Minister of Finance, his son just recently got a job with Caribbean Airlines. So I am hoping that when the 450 have to be retrenched, I hope his son is on top of that line. Anytime he remain with Caribbean Airlines, yes, see what will happen. Another thing, you see how Aka Samaru now over Shitiwari Rupnarain, like yourself, Nalin, Stephen Reese and whatnot, they can't censure you, right? But of course, all they can cross the line. However, I want to see the censure 500,000 people next general election. All the best. Have a great evening.
Thank you, my friend. Now, viewers, back to Colin. This bill seeks to ensure that gambling is conducted in a fair, responsible manner to prevent gambling from being a source of crime and protects minors from being exploited by gambling. The bill will come into operation on a date fixed by the President for proclamation. Caller, good night.
Good night. It is not fair to water down the procurement bill so to thief money, taxpayers' money. It is not fair. Inbud, it is not fair to water down the procurement bill to thief taxpayers' money.
Thank you, my friend. So we're talking about it is not fair tonight. It is not fair. It is not fair for the Minister of Health to tell the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago to go by the closest health center to get vaccinated. I want to talk about it is not fair. We will talk about it is not fair tonight. Switching gears a bit. The Caribbean community, CARICOM, will be sharing a 14 million vaccine allocation from the United States with at least 14 other countries. In a statement, the White House mapped out the mechanism by which the 80 million vaccine sharing initiative would be shared. Of the 80 million doses, Haiti is the only CARICOM country named to benefit from the distribution of 14 million doses of vaccine to Latin America and the Caribbean by the United States government. The International COVAX facility will be responsible for the allocating more specific numbers. The 14 million dose allocation representing 25% of the 55 million doses to be handed over to COVAX. The doses are expected to be handed over to the respective representative by the end of June. We're not in that, you know. We're not in that. We had to source vaccine elsewhere. And I hope with the loan that they took from China to buy vaccine, they could vaccinate the 1.3 million people in Trinidad and Tobago double dose. And out of the 18 billion they got for 2020, they would have enough money to buy vaccine, to vaccinate 1.3 million people. It is not fair to be collecting $18 million. And only 200,000 people get vaccinated in Trinidad. It is just not fair, Colin. Mr. Embert, Mr. Minister, it is not fair. Tell all of us watch your statement. Always remember, when you go behind a camera to talk, always remember side listening. Caller, good night.
Good evening, Mr. Said.
My friend.
Said, this government and people like Colin Imbot and them, so disconnected from the reality of Trinidad and Tobago and how people live in this country. Like this man, them don't have no heart. Just imagine everything that he spoke about in that press briefing or in Parliament there was only about taxing the people, taxing the people, taxing the people. They have already put so many hundreds of thousands of people on the breadline. The private sector that used to create a little employment for people to mind their families and children. People, I know people who works in the bar. So bar would hire 2 or 3 people just to give them a little opportunity to earn a little living, to clean out their urinals and to pack their fridge and all kind of things. They don't have to do that because they're making a little extra money. Now when you come and you put all these restrictions and close down these people, how these people will survive?
Correct.
All over the country, the private sector helps employ people to fry a little bara, to make a little roti and all this kind of thing, so they could mind their families and children. This man wants to shut down everything. And they have not, since the over 6 years in government, has not created one job in this country or one industry that would employ people. The only place they give people jobs is their supporters, who they would find position and give them CEO job like this Davlin Thomas, who mashing up the health facility and causing so much death something in the country. These are the people who's being employed, and that is a small population, while the entire population is suffering and going through hardship. And you have a man, the most incompetent person to put as a finance minister to manage the finance of Trinidad and Tobago. No wonder no other countries don't have nothing to do with Trinidad and Tobago. Everybody going on their own, doing what they need to do. Look, Guyana, just imagine Guyana laughing at Trinidad and Tobago and have we like an embarrassment to the Caribbean. When we had the head of CARICOM living in Trinidad and Tobago, is our Prime Minister.
Correct.
It's just ridiculous. And if people don't wake up and understand, this will go further than that, you know. There's more sanction going to come against this country for dealing with China and Venezuela and all these places, you know. When this thing open back up, people could have a rude awakening to deal with in this country under this PNM government. Have a good night, Mr. Said. Take care, man.
Thank you, my friend. So we're moving on to the Ministry of Health. Terrence Dialting have stated that the government is in active discussion with the U.S. White House on whether TNT is eligible for a share of the vaccine being donated to developing countries. Hey, this man's so illiterate. You still in discussion after they say you ain't getting none? He was questioned in the Senate by opposition Senator Wade Mag, who raised the issue of a report in which a representative of the Gavi confirmed that TNT did not qualify for a share of the $500 million worth of vaccine. $500 million worth of vaccine. The Dialting in responding stated that the matter was actively being discussed among White House, PAHO, and the Office of the Prime Minister.
Madam President, the matter raised is actively being discussed amongst the following parties: the White House, PAHO, CARFA, the Office of the Prime Minister, and the Ministry of Foreign and CARICOM Affairs. Thank you very much.
Now, when I read the Gavi report, because we went and purchased Sinopharm, however you want to call the vaccine, because Trinidad and Tobago went and purchased it, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. We broke the chain right there. We broke the chain right there, according to the Gavi report. You showed us that you got purchased vaccine from China. Well, then you are not third world. You have money to buy. So therefore, our donation will go to some other country. Let me tell you something. All they played the game correct, you know. They played the game correct. Let me give you a little follow-up on the game. $18 billion in 2020. 950 million US by another 150 million US. Good. They collected a large stash of US in 2020. So you know what? It is alleged. Here what we go do. Money coming in. 18 billion is plenty money, you know. It's a lot of money. And you're already dipping heritage and stabilization. So we need to get money in Trinidad. How do we raise the case? How do we cause debt? How do we spike it? We need to have a spread. If you're home, you cannot have a spread. So here what we go do. All I come follow me, we go in Tobago. Bam in Tobago. Wine and dine and jam for the weekend in Tobago. No problem. According to Rohan Sinan, 50,000 people back and forth in that week. Come back to Trinidad. After that, cases started to climb. Cases started to climb. So what we get? We get a spike in the COVID. And as long as there is a spike in the COVID and there's a third world country, well, watch me. The US going to start donating. CAFA going to start donating. PAHO going to start donating. The World Bank going to start donating. And we go get money. Boom, we come and get the spike. Donation rolling. Time to deal with the vaccine now. We start late with the vaccine. So when you start late with the vaccine, we go end up late. Call a good night.
Hi, good night, Mr. Ali.
Go right ahead.
It is not fair for Mr. Tax to be doing this to the people of this country, to be infringing on our rights, and that's what this government is doing. Rowley and his gangsters, that is what they are doing. His government is only represented by 4 people, but he has the majority in the Senate. How is that possible? And Mr. Drogas, who is the illiterate one in the whole set, trying to teach, and ain't even know that everybody's seen what he's doing. What about Mr. Graff? We have Mr. Graff trying to play with the minds of the people. He feels everybody's stupid. We know numbers and we know figures. Rowley is playing with the lives of people of this country. And citizens of this country need to wake up and stop thinking about race and stop thinking about the PNM and UNCR.
Correct.
Think about your lives of this country. Because lives matter. Your life is important to you. Think about your family that passed away during this COVID. And he going to Tobago, shut you down for Father's Day, and he going to Tobago to spend Father's Day with his daughter, who could ride a plane every time she receives a cup. Right? That is what you're talking about. And that is unfair. This is what we have to look at, the unfairness of the country. What Rowley have these people here. We have to be in the rain. We have to be standing up to pay a bill. No, this is unfair. And tell Mr. Tax to take his tax and he know what to do with it. Thank you.
Thank you, my friend. Now, staying on the health minister, he further questioned on how this would impact the government vaccine program if TT is deemed to be eligible for accessing this vaccine. The Asing added that the government bilateral talks were paying rich dividends, and that is why the government have been acting since day one.
President, it is premature to accept Senator Mark's assertion. It is being actively pursued. Let us wait for the fruit to ripen out of those discussions. Specifically also, this government has had many irons in the fire, and for that reason, we have imported into the country 200,000 doses of Sinopharm vaccines last week. We also have another 300,000 coming in July. So our bilateral talks are paying rich dividends, and that is the way the government has been acting since day one, to procure vaccines approved by WHO, either through COVAX, bilaterally, or the African Medicines Council, or any other platform.
Now, Terence, is your bilateral talk and your diplomacy talks, are you all paying for it? Or it have been gifts that have been given to Trinidad? Say something now. Say something now. All the bilateral talk. I go tell you something. Anywhere you hear money is paying. Anywhere you hear money is paying, there is deal cutting. Because I go tell you something. If I go to Navin, I say, Navin, I want 10 sheet of paper to buy. Saieed, 10 sheet of paper is $100. That no bilateral talk. Because I'm paying for my thing. It have no bilateral talks there. Oh, let's sell a vaccine? Good. How much for the vaccine? $5 a vaccine. Okay, I need 5 million vaccine. 25 million TT? 25 million US, okay, no problem. We took a loan from China to buy vaccine, $204 million. We will purchase vaccine. So what is the bilateral talks about? Who are you trying to fool? Are you trying to fool the foolish citizens of Trinidad and Tobago? You can't do that. You cannot do that. You know why? I go say, thank God he funded my program. I'm here for the dumb, the stupid, and the foolish people to talk sense in a language that they know. So when you hear all that come around with all that diplomacy talk and all that bilateral talk, the people who have no education will be like, what foolishness them talking? So I don't explain everything till we are ready. So what kind of nonsense you think you could come with? There's no bilateral talk where money is concerned, Terence. I am telling you that. Bilateral. He further added that it would be too early to give a time frame as to when the decision would end. He's still waiting for a decision from the White House. After the White House say, all you're getting none. All you're still stuck in them. You had the bloody money. Buy the vaccine. And the Prime Minister say, all don't beg, stop begging. Call a good night.
Hi, good night, Said. How are you?
Go right ahead.
All right, my thing about it is that they're looking to shut down CAL, right? And the Minister of Finance, who by profession is a civil engineer and has no background in finances, would come and say it costing the taxpayers and the state $110 million.
Correct.
So the $110 million divided by 450 persons that he want to retrench. So each person is going to be getting $244,444. Then he's saying first in, first out. Last in, first out. That doesn't add up.
Something wrong.
Definitely.
Thank you, my friend, for raising the issue. So as you raise that issue, I turn on my notes one time. It is going to cost taxpayers $110 million to pay severance and retrenchment package to 400 plus employees of the state-owned Caribbean airline. We will hold our discussion. Finance Minister Colin Membert, speaking in the Senate today, stated that CAL does not have the required finance for the severance payment and will be made financed by the Ministry of Finance.
Yes. The estimate given to the Ministry of Finance at this time, which is subject to finalization, is in the vicinity of $110 million.
Now, viewers, questioned by Senator Wade Mark on a support system to be made available to CAL employees, Imbert added that the estimate given which is subject to finalization amounting to $110 million.
Madam President, Caribbean Airlines does not have the required finances for the severance payments, and therefore the severance payments will be financed by the Ministry of Finance.
So viewers, I'm spinning this last video and we're going into a discussion. Imbert also stated that he was saddened by all of this.
I'm advised, and I must say I am saddened by all of this. This is not something that any of us would have wanted to see. I'm advised that Caribbean Airlines is going to reduce its jet fleet to 8 jet aircraft and its turboprop fleet to 5 ATRs.
Caller, good night.
Yeah, good night.
Go right ahead, you're live on Real Talk.
Saeed, Trinidadians are the stupidest people that have any face of this world.
Nah, don't say that.
Wait, let me explain something to you. Them politicians we have in this country, doing we the one for the past 52 or 62 years, Saeed. And what we doing about it? Nothing. Anything that we taking that.
I understand what you're saying there now.
Time for people to mobilize the people. Time for all your soul to come out and mobilize. We have to do something about it. How long are we going to take this?
I understand. Thank you, my friend. Now, you see, the thing is, as a person, don't say, I wouldn't say come out in the street and let me protest. I wouldn't do that. You know what I just do? You know the advantage I have? Right here on my program, I just get things done. Legislations and bills passing right here on Real Talk with Saieed Ali. And you, the viewers, you all know that I have a track record for that. That's how we just get things done. Step by step by step. Now listen to this. Carl said they don't have the money. Prior to 2020, before COVID-19 hit Trinidad and Tobago, where was Carl profit going? The world was not in a pandemic. Understand what I'm saying? The world was not in a pandemic. Prior to 2020, where was Carl money going? That's number one. Number two, why is the Ministry of Finance paying Carl workers? If I shutting down my private owned station, do you think the Ministry of Finance will come and pay my workers? No. No. Where was Carl money going prior to 2020? All these years they're up and running. Where did their money go? I think it was last year before, 2018, 2019, the government injected millions of TT dollars in Carl. Where did all that money go? The world wasn't in a pandemic. The world wasn't in a pandemic. Huh? And they want to bail out and bail out and bail out. And the people who pay NIS in Trinidad and Tobago cannot get a blasted salary relief grant. $110 million you forking out from the Ministry of Finance to pay 400 plus workers, local, regional, and international. But the bloody hell citizens and them, all they want to freeze the pension. Is it fair, Colin? Is it fair? Caller, good night.
Good night, good night. I hear you knocking the terrorist terrible. Let me tell you something. I will hear one stupid, he too stupid. Now, let me get on to the serious thing with Carl. Carl has not been making money for the last 5 or 6 years. The last time they make money, you know how they make money? When the government subsidized them to pay Carl to do the sea bridge. I want to ask Colin, the short man, how much money is spent to try to keep a sea bridge going as compared to Carl. You see, both of them is failure. Remember, we buy 3 boats that tie up somewhere on the docks.
Correct.
Here's Banneker. Now, the other thing I want to talk to, the head of the firm, no easy, I just call him the pip man. I hear he talking to the corridors of the White House, real tough people. But I want him to know if he ever spend any money to get a chat with Biden, any sensible person, you have to go to this decision-making person for action and for you to get your what you want. So you have to talk to Biden. Biden is the man to give you the vaccine. And if Biden already classify you and your country as an SH country, you don't get nothing. You can't be in bed with Chinese and you can't be in bed with Maduro. It doesn't work so. What kind of man you are? You're selling your soul and you're making Trinidad suffer.
Correct,
so
correct.
This man spent plenty of money and he's speaking to the wrong people. He's speaking to people who are not the decision maker. He spent $30 million to talk to Trump. He disrespecting Biden, tell him spend $60 million. That's how they let us spend me money. I'm going to have a nice night.
Thank you, my friend. Now listen this. The decision was made after months of consultation with International Air Transportation Association and another world-renowned consultation company. So you consulting with all kind of company. All kind of company. But who you consulting with when you want to freeze the pensioners' money? Who are you consulting with when those paying NIS cannot get a salary relief grant since 2020? Who are you consulting with? Talk now, man. I want a little talk. Call her good night.
Hi, good night.
Go right ahead.
Mr. Said, good night. I just want to clarify one thing. Since last year, for the salary relief grant, I applied. And up to today, I am not working.
You see what I'm saying?
Up to till this day, I have not received a cent. But all this money, this government spent, they say $18 billion. Which part of money went?
Thank you, my friend. I was just saying it. Who is the finance minister consulting with? Is he consulting with an international agency on who should get and who shouldn't get? When the $10 million went missing from NIB, I wonder which company they was consulting with. Which company they was consulting with to find out where the 10 million went. I'll come now, man. I'll talk now. Tonight is turn it up, you know. We turn it up thing tonight. Call her good night.
Hello, good night.
Go right ahead.
Pico scenario. Trinidadians had to play through the teeth for a wealthy company which had so much backing otherwise. Right? It's the same thing that's going to be happening with Carl again.
Mm-hmm.
Right? This is so really, as you saying, very, very unfair, you know.
Thank you, my dear. So, Colin Nimbut, Minister of Finance, it is unfair. It is unfair. You want to talk about the tax paying? It's unfair to the tax paying citizens. But you have to be one jokey short, man. Check what I'm telling you. Now, switching gears a bit, Chief Medical Officer Dr. Roshan Parasham have stated that it seems likely a second case of vaccine-induced thrombosis has been detected in Trinidad and Tobago.
Investigation of
He stated that this case is still being investigated.
One other person who is under investigation of Dr. Charles right now. So there's a second person that we think fits the criteria that only came to light about a day ago. That is still under investigation. Seems likely that it may be another case of VI, of that syndrome. Again, so that will be two cases of that syndrome if it is confirmed, hopefully by the end of today or thereabouts. But yeah, those are the two cases that we have seen with that particular event.
Caller, good night.
Yeah, good night, Said.
Go right ahead, my friend.
Right. I just want to ask, they're talking about they want to get the problem with Carl. they should find out first who is one of the ministers' son got a job for $50,000.
That the man who said it is not fair. I already know that.
Right, okay. So find out if he could be on the breadline too.
Well, I doubt he will be on the breadline.
Be safe. Take care.
Thank you, my friend. Now, viewers, the American Society of Hematology says symptoms of syndrome developed 4 to 30 days after vaccination. Parasham announced that the first case on May 29th and said the patient was under the care of the hematologist, Dr. Kenneth Charles. Question for an update on the patient. Parasham stated that the patient continued to do well. Dr. Parasham added that there were also persons with mild allergic type reactions from persons after receiving the vaccine.
There have been some other mild allergic type reactions that have been documented where persons would have had allergies maybe about 15 or 10 to 15 minutes after having the vaccine. I know of a few cases that had to go to hospital. They have been treated and they are well and they discharged. So there have been to date no vaccine-related deaths of any sort. Most of the persons that would have had the vaccine would have had very mild symptoms lasting 2 to 3 days, generally pain at the injection site, fever, some tiredness. Majority of persons, as I said, have recovered completely within about 2 to 3 days and go back to their normal way of life right after, and some people can continue working even the day after. So the side effect profile has been very good for both vaccines utilized in Trinidad and Tobago, with those 2 instances of severe complications, which are rare again, roughly about 4 in a million for that particular complication. It's a very rare side effect, and both persons continue to be treated as per the clinical guidelines from WHO, and they are still well.
Caller, good night.
Yes, hi, good night.
Go right ahead.
I'm trying to figure out what they're just saying is, so the government going to pay the severance package for car workers now?
Correct. They will be financing the Caribbean airline, yes.
So what about all the workers in the country now that get laid off within the last year because of the incompetence of this government? Keith Rowley and the banner dotish people who are running the country. What going on with all these people on the breadline, or where them supposed to get money from? So why don't you take money and share it up between everybody in the countryside?
Now, I'm going to tell you something. The 18 billion they collected last year, 950 by 150 million US. I'm going to tell you something. If we have 1.3 million people in Trinidad and Tobago, let's just say we have 500,000 homes in Trinidad and Tobago. $12,000 per home.
Yeah.
$12,000 per home for 3 months, and we will still have money.
I want to bring something else to your attention, right?
Talk to me.
Do you know that the credible journalists and reporters and things in this country, the government is silencing them to this whole COVID issue that's going on right now?
Yep.
You know they blacklisting certain reporters from coming into that press conference and things?
But people like me, so they won't allow me to come in from the time I see side face day. The security saying here what's going on. You can't come in here.
But I want to give Rowley a message personally, side. I want to let him know that here what's going on.
Don't threaten them, man. They go whole side responsible.
If you had to come and waste tax-paying dollars on a Saturday and any other day to come and talk rubbish on TV,
correct.
People and can't answer straight questions when a good journalist asks you. All you please don't waste we money now, because we paying them taxes, we paying all their salary, and all they coming and giving people a pack of garbage every time all they come on TV, all they can't answer one question some asks all they only beating around the bush and all they can't answer a question.
Thank you, my friend. But I think it's easy. But let me tell you something. If you know how it is, be so proud of myself that nobody funds this program. You know why? They can't put a lid on it. They can't. But I will tell you something. The day you interfere with this program, you see how I get all them legislations and bills passed? Through lighting and light? I wouldn't hesitate. I wouldn't hesitate. So viewers, just before we go, we probably have about 2 minutes left. The son of a Moruga police sergeant was granted a $100,000 bail when he appeared before a superior magistrate charged with allegedly raping a 15-year-old girl. A 34-year-old soldier was arrested and charged while stealing 8 gates from Port of Spain City Corporation on Monday. Are you think it easy? Police said Mr. Ford, a Lance Corporal, was arrested for the theft of the gates valued at $2,500. A Lance Corporal. Members of the Port of Spain City Police were on patrol when they got a tip-off. Officers went to Ford's Diego Martin home where he was arrested and charged with the 8 counts of larceny by WPC Pierre. So viewers, just imagine a Lance Corporal thiefing. The thiefing gate. We good? So viewers, you have about 1 minute left. Squeezing our call for the next minute. Is it fair to the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago for the Ministry of Finance to be financing CAL, about to be retrenched workers, and have other citizens of Trinidad and Tobago cannot get salaries? Just imagine. Bars shut down for the last year or so. Nothing. Price increase. Groceries. Pharmaceuticals. Doctor visits. Gas. You name it. It went up. So is it fair now, Mr. Imbert? You see, I'm putting a handle to your name. I'm not just rattling out your name just so. I'm giving you a handle, Mr. Imbert. I'm not disrespecting you. You are the minister in the Ministry of Finance. I have respect for your portfolio. I respect you as a minister. But some of the statements you're making, it's foolish. It's foolish. It is unfair to the taxpaying citizen. Viewers, we are out of time for tonight. But nevertheless, today is Tuesday the 22nd. Tomorrow is Wednesday the 23rd. Tomorrow will be our public concerns night. So we will be dealing with issues that is concerns of the public. We're not talking politics tonight. We want to hear about that issue in your community. We want to hear about the issue with the councillor. We want to hear about the issue with the drain and the road and the flooding. We want to hear from the people of the community. So tune in tomorrow night from 7 to 8 p.m. for Real Talk with Saieed Ali when we discuss Public Concerns Night. Allahumma surka ba'ila inta ribi'il kaz ri'iba'unna shanta riba'ullala. How long will we as a people be dominated by our oppressors? How long we as a people will not open our eyes? Allah kaba'ize la anta. It is up to you and I to make a stand for what is right. So until we meet again for Public Concerns Night, be safe and enjoy the night.